Something is happening to you right now. And I don't mean that in a vague, feel-good kind of way. I mean something is genuinely coming undone inside you. The anxiety that hits you at 2 in the morning for no reason. The feeling that the life you've built doesn't actually belong to you. The exhaustion of pretending everything is fine when, deep down, nothing feels fine at all. And here's the part that really messes with your head. Nobody around you seems to be going through it. Your coworkers show up, crack jokes, talk about the game last night, and go home. Your family carries on with their routines. Your friends post vacation photos. And you're sitting there wondering if you're going crazy, or if everyone else is just better at hiding it than you are. I want to tell you something today that I wish someone had told me earlier. You are not going crazy. You are not falling apart. What you are going through has a name. It has a map. And there are people who have walked this road before you and come out the other side. Not intact, not unscathed, but more real, more whole, and more alive than they ever were before. The man who drew that map was Carl Jung, a Swiss psychiatrist who lived in the early 20th century. And before you tune out because this sounds like a college lecture, hear me out. Because Jung did not just study this stuff from a comfortable office chair. At 38 years old, at the peak of his career, respected around the world, he deliberately walked into his own psychological darkness. For 6 years, he recorded visions so disturbing, heard voices so vivid, experienced things so shattering that he later wrote that he was, in his own words, seriously threatened by what he called a psychosis. His colleagues abandoned him. His family worried he had lost his mind. He nearly lost everything he had built. But what he found in that darkness became the most honest and practical guide to what happens when a human being starts to wake up. Not a spiritual awakening sold on a weekend retreat, not a course you buy for $200. The real thing, the kind that tears you open. Today I want to walk you through the 3 specific traps that Jung identified, the 3 patterns that destroy most people during this process. And more importantly, I want to show you exactly what he found that helped people survive them. Not just survive, but actually come through with something worth keeping. Let's start with the first trap. And I want you to pay close attention here, because this one is already happening. You just don't recognize it yet because it looks like progress. Trap 1. The thing you buried is coming back. Every one of us, starting in childhood, learns which parts of ourselves are acceptable and which ones are not. You learn fast. You throw a tantrum and the room goes cold. You cry and someone tells you to toughen up. You get excited about something weird and kids at school laugh at you. So you pack those parts away. You bury the anger. You silence the need. You hide the strangeness. You build a version of yourself that is presentable, manageable, safe. Jung had a word for everything you buried. He called it the shadow. And here is the thing about the shadow that changes everything. It does not disappear just because you stop looking at it. Think about it like a basement. You throw stuff down there for years. Old boxes, broken things, junk you don't want to deal with. You shut the door and get on with your life. But the stuff is still down there. And when awakening starts, someone kicks that door wide open. Suddenly you're feeling rage you don't understand, jealousy you're ashamed of, sexual energy that feels way too intense, destructive thoughts that scare you. And your first instinct is to slam that door back shut, to meditate harder, to pray more, to tell yourself these feelings aren't spiritual, that this isn't who you are. But here's what Jung found, and this is crucial. The shadow is not your enemy. The shadow is the part of you that got left behind, and it is not trying to destroy you. It is trying to complete you. Jung said something that sounds harsh until you really sit with it. He said he would rather be whole than good, not because goodness doesn't matter, but because a goodness built on denial is not actually goodness. It is a performance, and performances eventually collapse. Jung worked this out through his own process. He found himself experiencing what he called murder fantasies, violent, disturbing images. And instead of running from them or spiritualizing them away, he sat with them. He drew them. He wrote them out. He asked them what they were trying to tell him. And what he found on the other side of that was not evil. It was energy, raw, undirected, powerful life force that had been locked in the basement for decades. The people who come through this process are the ones who stop treating their shadow like a problem to be fixed and start treating it like a message to be understood. When something dark surfaces in you, the question is not, how do I get rid of this? The question is, what truth have I been too afraid to hold? Now here is where it gets really complicated. Because even if you start doing that work, even if you start facing your shadow honestly, there is a second trap waiting. And it is sneakier than the first one, because it disguises itself as the best version of you. Trap 2. Your ego is putting on a costume. Here is something nobody warns you about. When genuine spiritual experiences start happening, when you have moments of real clarity, real presence, real connection to something larger than yourself, your ego does not disappear. It evolves. It upgrades. It puts on a spiritual costume and pretends it has been defeated. Suddenly, you are not just a person having a meaningful experience. You are someone who has been chosen. You have a mission. You see things others don't see. You feel called to help people wake up. You start to feel, just a little bit, spiritually superior to the people around you. Jung called this ego inflation. And he said it was more dangerous than staying asleep. Because at least when you're asleep, you know you're not awake. When your ego inflates around spiritual content, you become blind to your own blindness. He documented a patient, a successful businessman in his early 40s who started experiencing what can only be described as genuine synchronicities. Things aligned in his life in remarkable ways. He felt connected, lit up, alive, and then his ego grabbed it. He started to believe he had cracked the code of reality, that he had a gift no one else had. He left his family, quit his job, started a spiritual movement. Within a year, he was living on the streets, convinced that he alone could see through the illusion of reality. Jung spent 3 years working with him to separate the genuine experiences from the ego story that had been built around them. Here is how you know inflation is happening to you. You stop questioning yourself. You become certain you cannot tolerate criticism. You see signs everywhere confirming how special you are. You feel impatient with people who don't get it. You feel like you've arrived somewhere others haven't. Jung's antidote to this was what he called relativizing the ego. The ego doesn't need to be killed. It needs to be put in its proper place. The ego is a container, a vessel. It is not the source of what moves through you. When lightning strikes, you don't call the lightning rod the storm. Every time you feel spiritually superior to someone, ask yourself this: what is the part of me that still needs to feel special? Because that question will humble you fast. And that humility is not weakness. It is the only thing that keeps you sane as you go deeper. But even if you handle the shadow, even if you catch the inflation, there is a third trap. And in a lot of ways, it is the cruelest one. Because it does not come from inside you. It comes from the people you love. Trap 3. The people around you need you to stay the same. Jung wrote about what he called the problem of the returned hero. In every great myth, the hero goes on a journey, faces the darkness, finds something real, and comes home. Sounds like a good ending, right? But Jung noticed something the myths tend to skip over. When the hero comes home changed, the village does not throw a parade. The village tries to put them back in the box. Not out of malice. Not because the people in your life are bad people, but because your transformation is a mirror. And mirrors make people uncomfortable when they're not ready to look. When you start showing up differently, more honest, less tolerant of small talk, less willing to play roles, the people around you feel it. And their response looks like concern, but often acts like pressure. Your partner says you seem distant. Your parents wonder if you're okay. Your friends joke that you've gotten weird. Your coworkers treat you like you think you're better than everyone. And the message underneath all of it is the same. Come back. Be who you were. We liked that version better. Jung worked with a woman, a lawyer and a mother of 2, who had done enormous inner work. She had faced her shadow. She had caught her inflation. She had developed what he would describe as genuine consciousness. And when she came home, her family unconsciously dismantled every inch of it. Not with fights, with dinner table comments, with sighs, with the 1,000 small ways that people who love you can make you feel like you're wrong for changing. Here is what Jung said was really happening in those moments. He called it the participation mystique. Every group, every family, every close relationship involves a kind of unconscious psychological fusion. You share assumptions, you share blind spots, You reinforce each other's personas. And when one person individuates, when one person actually starts to wake up, they break that fusion. And the group experiences it as a loss, as a threat. The you that participated in that shared unconsciousness is, in a real sense, gone. And the people who loved that version of you are grieving without knowing it. Jung's answer was not to abandon everyone, and it was not to abandon yourself either. He called it holding the tension of opposites, staying fully present to the people you love without betraying what you now know to be true, remaining in relationship without pretending to be asleep, being awake in a world that is mostly dreaming, without judgment, without superiority, without disappearing. He called people who developed this capacity translators, not people who explain their awakening to others, because that almost never works, but people who embody something quietly different, who create space, just by how they are, for others to begin asking their own questions. Here is what ties all three of these traps together. And this is the part I really need you to hear. Spiritual awakening is not a destination. It is a lifestyle of dying, not physically, psychologically. Every layer you shed, every illusion you let go, every identity you outgrow, that is a death. And it keeps happening. It does not stop after one big breakthrough. Jung was still dying to old versions of himself in his 80s, still finding new shadows, still catching his ego in fresh inflations, still navigating the discomfort of being more conscious than comfortable. He had a dream near the end of his life, in which he was a student again, sitting in a classroom, knowing nothing. After decades of being Carl Jung, after building an entire school of psychology, his own unconscious looked him in the face and said, "You are still a beginner." That is the price of real consciousness. You never get to arrive. You never get to be done. You never get to plant a flag and say, "I figured it out. My work here is finished." Most people cannot accept that. They want awakening to deliver a final destination, a version of themselves they can settle into, a peace they don't have to keep earning. But that is not what this is. What this actually is, at its best, is what Jung called individuation. Becoming who you always were before the world told you who you should be. Not transcending your humanity, not rising above it, fully, consciously, completely inhabiting it. Including all the parts you were ashamed of. Including the anger, the desire, the fear, the contradictions, all of it held at once. He described it as the union of opposites, not choosing light over dark, containing both, not picking strength over weakness, knowing both, not being spiritual or human, being fully, consciously human in a way that most people never risk. And here is what nobody in the wellness industry will tell you. That is not peaceful, not most of the time. It is not bliss. It is not constant clarity. It is conscious suffering. It is choosing to see what is real, even when what is real is painful. It is carrying a truth that most people around you are not ready for, and learning how to hold it without letting it isolate you or make you brittle. So what do you actually do with all of this? If you are in the middle of this right now, here is what I want you to take from Jung's work. First, stop fighting the shadow. The darkness that is surfacing in you is not evidence that something has gone wrong. It is evidence that something is finally going right. Ask it what it is carrying. Give it a voice. Write it out. Draw it. Talk to it like it has something to say. Because it does. Second, watch your ego. Every time you feel spiritually certain, spiritually superior, or specially chosen, that is your cue to get humble fast. Real awakening does not make you feel elevated above others. It makes you feel more human, more connected, more compassionate toward everyone still in the dark because you remember what that felt like. Third, stay in your relationships without disappearing into them. The people who love you are not your enemies for wanting the old version of you back. They are scared. And you being real, not preachy, not superior, just genuinely, quietly real, is the best thing you can do for them. You cannot drag anyone along on this journey, but you can light a candle. And finally, stop trying to survive this. I know that sounds strange, but Jung's deepest insight was this. You do not survive spiritual awakening. The version of you that started this journey was never going to make it out. That version is not meant to make it out. What comes through the other side is not better, not higher, not more enlightened, just more real, more yours, more complete. Your breakdown is not your failure. It is your breakthrough wearing a disguise. Your dissolution is not your ending. It is your beginning. Your symptoms are not the problem. They are the process. The question was never whether you would survive this. The question is whether you will let it finish what it started. If this landed for you today, share it with someone who needs to hear it, not because you want to wake them up, but because sometimes the loneliest part of this journey is thinking you are the only one on it. You are not. You never were. And if you want to go deeper into what Jung actually found on the other side of all of this, the specific practices he used, the exact framework he built for navigating the unconscious, stay tuned, because that is exactly what we are covering next.